Great, we're back from our morning drive. We're after the breakfast. I just want to keep my guests busy. Even that we are back to the lodge is that we are not leaving the bush out. We're still in the bush here. So it's most of the drive is more about finding tracks and game. But here we can share our guest knowledge in terms of our plants which we have inside here. This big tree which I'm standing under it, I will drag the branch closer so that you can have an identify or you can have an idea what I'm going to talk about. This leaf arrangement is one of the trees classified as Marula tree, very commonly well known. It has got a very good fruits, but not this time of the year. And again, this time of the year, most of the Marula trees are not having leaves, but interestingly, this one is still anchoring its roots very deeply that it can still have holding their leaves. You can clearly see the amount of leaves you still have above there. So the Marula tree is very famous of its fruits, as I mentioned. The fruits, unfortunately, I don't have it, or the Marula fruit doesn't have it at the moment. It's mainly commonly found from at least September, but fruits fully to eat or to utilize it is February. Very lovely fruit that you can utilize, and also the elephants love that. People even say the elephant gets drunk, but I won't go further that far. This fruit is very useful to our culture. Firstly, you can use it as it is. You can peel the skin, nicely soft food flesh-like outside the hard pit. You squeeze it in, it has got a high juicy like an orange, but much more vitamin C than an orange. Besides that, you can collect as many as you can. Then you can peel it on a bucket and then take the seeds out, leave the water there, close it, put it away, let it ferment. After 3 days or maybe 3.5 days, open the bucket, filter nicely, the yellowish rich juice will come out, but it's alcoholic. The more you drink it, the more you get a little bit, yes, exactly, you know what I mean, drunk. And elephants, as I said, loves them. And during the season of fruits in February every year, elephants, each and every fell elephant, if it's not walking from a tree, it will be under the tree, which is exactly this Marula tree. Good about it is just this one, it looks rich and young. You cannot see much of the details about the bark, but this is one of the trees closely classified to the mango family. You can actually differentiate the sexes, male out of a female. You can clearly look at the nicely looking at the bark. The male usually have a longer kind of this bark dead material, but this one specifically, it's a female. It's got nicely round. That one, yes, it can be because of stretch as it grows, but most of its bark outside is roundish. You can clearly see that. So that's how you can easily differentiate. And more interestingly, into our culture, if you are married and you both expecting your child, we have that belief that if you take the bark of the female tree and you powder it, then obviously early in the morning your wife shower with that mixture of the powder with the water, and she can make a little drink, take it in the morning. That will determine mostly what she will have. If it's a female tree, you expect a baby female, the baby being a lady. If it's a baby girl, let me use that word, baby girl. If it's a male, then you're obviously going to expect a baby boy. That's our cultural belief. And then obviously go back to the fruits. Out of the juice, you can dry those nuts which I talked about. Nicely, you can crack open those nuts. In there, you've got a very tasteful like a macadamia nuts, which you can use it as a burying like a peanuts. You can use as a snack if you've got a television to watch while you are snagging. And besides that, it's very rich. You can actually boil it out. You've got a rich oil coming out of that fruit, so you can make oil of it. Besides that, they can also make a kind of a cream, facial cream for the girls. It's very useful tree. Nowadays, you see during the season, they collect loads of these fruits by trucks. We have got a very close manufacturing company in Palabora, where they're producing a very well-known alcohol. It gets refined in Cape Town, but it's produced here by Palabora, and then it gets refined, called Amarula liqueur. You will know some countries are calling it Baileys. So that's what I can share with you about the Marula tree. Thank you. Great. So one other important things, I remember I mentioned something interesting to you when I was talking about the tree here. So I want to point out where it actually gonna touch me and leaves you with a question, where do I belong or where do I come from? Look at this beautiful rock here. It's shaped so nicely, and I will point them to both 1 and 2. Unlike these ones are natural how they look. So these ones are not naturally how they look. They've been actually made by the tribe of people who used to be here. I belong to the Shangaan or Tsonga tribe, and this used to be our grinding mealie that we will use for porridge or for food. So what you can do is to have your mealies, grind them, so it's like a peeling that you'll have those corns without the out cover that will be peeled already as a stump. That stump you can immerse, and then it soak themselves within the water, and the water will come out as juicy like tomorrow or maybe 3 days, and it's gonna be fermented. They take it out maybe about half an hour, dry it a little bit, but not too dry. Then you start stamping them with a stamping kind of a wooden made stump with a stick. Then you filter it. Then it comes out as a white pure powder, like a mealie powder. Or else the last little granules which you can't powder anymore, that's what you can use. I'll demonstrate for you how we used to do it. This will be a kind of a rock we used to, and the lady will be kneeling here on her knee, and she will put whatever is there and she will grind it, and it will come out that end as a kind of a very fine grinded material. That's what she's gonna use to make porridge. So these 2 stones used to be grinding stones for the Asian people who used to live in this area before it's been taken over as farms. Thank you. Great. Before I leave this tree has got so much things for me which I found it interesting. I've been stuck for more than 20 minutes or maybe 10 minutes. I might be exaggerating. Look where I'm going to point out again, a beautiful attached plant which is not part of the indigenous tree or a host. But this plant, it's a type of plant classified as an epiphyte, a leopard orchard. It's actually a plant which sits on top. It can be a live tree, it can be a dead tree. It doesn't need anything from the host. It just happens that it will grow above to have a bit of a competition, not too much shade on the ground, to keep on being green. But what I want to point out for you is, as I said, it's cultural. Our culture used to be much more guiding for us. So when someone as a household, being a father, most of our Asian time used to be the father. You would be a father when you've got your wives, your kids, but not only there, but also your stocks, your cattle, your goats, your chickens, depending on how much you can able to take care of. But mostly commonly, it will be cattle. So most of the cattle, I will point out on my left how it used to be a cattle kraal made out of. You can clearly see our boma, as I said, we're at the lodge, beautifully made, but it's exactly how it's been taken as it is or invaded from us to be modernized as a boma for place where people can eat or have food. But this is exactly how it used to be making or made for our cattle kraal. So you will find one of the log on a cattle kraal area will have this plant. As many branches as it produces, it actually a way of believing or stimulating your cattle. They must also produce as many little children as, or calves, not children, as this plant produces branches. Thank you.